Good morning, children. We'll continue with pollination, and today we are going to study about agents of pollination. Now, we have studied that pollination is the transfer of pollen grains. So, for pollen grains to be transferred, we require certain carriers, isn't it? Which will carry them to the stigma, and these carriers are called the agents of pollination. Okay, this carrier can be wind, water and insect. These are the different agents of pollination. The plants and the flowers have certain characteristic features depending on the type of agent of pollination. That means which agent this flower is using for transfer of pollen grain. Okay, depending upon this, there are special features in the flowers of that plant. Okay, and these special features, they help the plants in pollination. We'll study this one by one. Let us first study about pollination by wind. So plants such as wheat, maize, grass, palm, pine, etc. are pollinated by wind. Okay, now the pollen grains are blown away by the wind. How it occurs? Wind, it blows away the pollen grain. Okay, and these pollen grains then get deposited on the stigma of another flower. Okay, so the special features of wind pollinated flowers are: these flowers are small and inconspicuous. Stamens are long and hang out from the flowers so that pollen grains can be easily blown away. Pollen grains are light in weight and are produced more in numbers, so that while pollination, if some pollen grains are lost while moving with the wind, some can reach to the stigma. Such plants have feathery stigma so that they can easily receive the pollen grains passing by in the breeze. Okay, this is the figure of a wind pollinated flower. Next is pollination by water. So in aquatic plants like Vallisneria, pollination by water occur. Vallisneria has separate male and female flowers. What happens during pollination when the male flowers mature? Okay, it gets detached from the plant. Okay, and then it floats on the surface of the water and reaches to the female flower. And when it reaches to the female flower, the pollen grains are transferred to the stigma. Okay, so the characteristic features in Vallisneria are: the stalk of the female flowers are long so that the stigma are above the water surface. Then stigmas are large and feathery to catch the floating pollen grains. Pollen grains are produced in large numbers. Okay, and light and waterproof. They are also lightweight, so they can float easily on the water. They are waterproof, so they cannot get rotten by the water. Okay, these are the characteristic features in plants which are pollinated by water. So this is the picture. See, this is male flower and it is reaching to the female flower by floating. Now pollination by insects. So insects such as butterfly, bees and moths, they help in the transfer of pollen grains from one flower to the another flower. When this insect visit a flower, the pollen grains are dusted. You know, pollen grains are actually yellow colored powdery substance. Okay, so they are dusted on their bodies, and when these insects alight on another flower, that is, they move and sit on the another flower, the pollen grains on their bodies fall on the stigma of that flower. Some examples are rose, hibiscus, mustard. These kind of flowers are pollinated by insects. The special features are: this is butterfly, bees. Okay, this is by mistake, I have typed wrong. It is bees and moths. They are helping in the pollination. Okay, these insects. And next is, these are the flowers which are pollinated by insects. There are many more also. Okay, the list is not only this much. The characters, these are just some examples. The characteristic features of insect pollinated plants, flowers are: flowers are large, scented. Scented means they have good smell, fragrance. Okay, rose has good smell, fragrance is there, and they contain nectar. Why nectar? Because to get the nectar, insect will come and sit over them. these all characteristics are present to attract the insects. Okay, why flowers attract the insect? Because insects are helping them in pollination. Understood? So all those features which will help to attract the insects, they are present in the flowers which are pollinated by insects. Next is brightly colored petal, again to attract the insects. Pollen grains are usually sticky so that they can easily stick to the insect's body. And similarly, stigma are also sticky so that the pollen grains are easily brushed off from the body of the insects. Okay. So next topic is artificial pollination. Artificial pollination, as its name suggests, okay, this is not a natural process, it is done by humans. Okay. And why it is done? Because to improve the quality of crops. It is a technique which is widely used to improve the quality of crops. What happens in this? We take two varieties of plants, each having one or more desirable qualities. Okay, and then they are pollinated artificially so that we can get a new variety that will have the desirable qualities of both the parents, an improved variety. In this kind of improved variety, what we will find? Disease resistant. Okay, less disease will occur to this kind of plants, and high yield. This kind of plants which are produced by artificial resistance will yield high crops. Okay, high amount of crops. Nutritional value of the food crops will increase. So these are some of the reasons why we do artificial pollination. And taste can also become better by artificial pollination, color, flavor, okay, to improve different qualities. Next is how artificial pollination occur. What are the steps involved in artificial pollination? First is selection. That is, we will first select the male and female plants of same species but with different desirable characters. Means the characters which we actually want to merge up. Then removal of stamen. Stamens are removed manually from the bisexual flower. Why do you remove the stamen? To prevent the natural pollination. Okay. And then what next is done? Bagging is done. Bagging means to cover the flower with paper or polythene bags. And this is again done to prevent the natural pollination from plants which are not selected. Natural pollination, because it can easily occur through wind, water. You cannot stop the wind or you cannot stop the insects to sit on the flower, isn't it? But you can cover the flower, and this way you can stop the pollen grains to reach to that flower. Okay, the undesired pollen grains. Now next last step is the pollination. Now we will artificially pollinate. How? Pollen grains from the desired plants are collected and then dusted on the stigma of the selected flower. Now the seed which is thus obtained or produced are collected and plants are raised. Okay, the process of obtaining a new variety of plant through artificial pollination, it is called hybridization. Okay, so you can also say that artificial pollination is also called hybridization. And the better quality of the crops, the plants which are raised by hybridization, they are called hybrids. So this is all about artificial pollination. Next we will study the last topic of this chapter, that is fertilization. Okay, this is the last step in the reproduction. What is fertilization? It is the process of fusion of male gametes with the female gametes. We have been studying from starting that sexual reproduction is what? It occurs by fusion of male gametes and female gametes. Now how it occurs? Pollination has brought the male gamete, that is the pollen grain which contains the male gamete, pollen grain up to the stigma. But just bringing up to the stigma is sufficient for the fertilization? No, because the stigma is not having the female gamete. Female gamete is somewhere deep inside into the ovules. So now the male gamete has to reach to the ovules for fertilization, that is for joining with the female gamete. So how it occurs? We'll see through this diagram. Look here. Now pollen grains have reached to the stigma, isn't it? After reaching the stigma of the flower, the pollen grain begins to grow out a pollen tube. Okay, it will derive the nutrition from the stigma. It will grow, and when it starts growing, then it will grow out a pollen tube. This is the pollen tube, yellow color. Okay, this pollen tube will elongate. Elongate means increase in length and moves down through the style. This is the style. From the style, it will go down, and where it has to reach? It has to reach up to the ovule. So it will reach in the ovary, because to reach up to the ovule, it has to go to the ovary and releases the male gamete into the ovule. Okay, through an opening called micropyle. So now the male gamete which was present in the pollen, okay, that will reach to the female gamete which is present in the ovule. The male gamete and female gamete will then fuse, and after fusing, one cell is formed that is called zygote. Okay, this zygote then divides and grow into embryo. So fertilization, what is formed after fertilization? Zygote is formed. You should remember this term, very important. Okay, and then zygote will divide and grow into an embryo. Okay, now after this, the ovule will become seed. Okay, the ovule turns into the seed, and the ovary, the pulp of the ovary, the pulp of the fruit which you eat is formed by the ovary. The ovary will form the fruit. Okay, the ovary remains attached to the stalk, but rest of the parts of the flower will shed, like sepals, petals, they all fall off. And you know how fruit looks like. All of you have seen. Okay, so the pulp of the fruit is actually the ovary of the flower, and the seeds, they are the ovules. Okay, are you clear with this? This is the fertilization. Seeds are formed. Now from the seeds you can grow a new plant. Reproduction of plant is complete. You can go through the flow chart given on page 28 in your books. Okay, this is a very simple diagrammatic, or you can say flow chart representation of fertilization. Okay, then study this chapter, read this chapter again completely, watch the videos again and again, and in case if you don't understand anything, feel free to ask. Have a nice day, study well, and stay safe.